I am your host, Matthew Encina. I'm a creative director here at Blind and the Future. And today's subject, how much should I be charging? Today, I'm going to share you the rates that I pay freelancers all the time, the different kinds of ways that you could get paid. Hourly is good in case you don't know how long it's going to take for a task. And that's why hourly billing is not really the preferred way to go, but it is a way to start. Next way, day rate. This is what I was doing in the motion design industry. Again, this is very common. The good thing about it is you are guaranteed an amount every single day. Every time that you are booked, if I'm booked for a week, that's 5 days, I get $3,000. That's locked. That's set. That's fantastic. Bad thing about it, if you're not careful, you're going to end up doing a lot of unpaid overtime. Lastly, the last way that you can charge on this list is by project. This is fantastic because this is a fixed rate, just like my logo design projects back in the day where I was charging $5,000 for a logo. It's great because it allows you to be very flexible. Maybe it only takes me an hour to design the logo and I still collect the total $5,000. But this is great for the client because they know that there's a fixed fee based off of deliverables and a certain amount of rounds of revisions. Where this is bad, if you're not careful, you can get into unlimited revision cycles. Okay, so you might be looking at this and you might be wondering, what do you look for and expect in your freelancers? Junior anything, this is kind of the standard here. These are my expectations. They know the software very, very well. They have a strong portfolio. They have at least 5 examples in there that show some consistency. Next, moving up. Now we're talking about mid-range designers. My expectations is everything as before, plus they should be very fast at execution and iterations. I probably just have to tell them something once at the beginning of the day, and by the end of the day, it's completely done. And what I expect is that they always hit deadlines. Now we're moving on up to senior designers. So everything that we discussed for the junior and mid-range designer, now I expect them to be an excellent problem solver and can troubleshoot technical issues. It's really about the demand. Like, everybody is talented. There's so many talented people across the globe. Cinema designer or animator here can be just as good as somewhere back in Southeast Asia, but the demand has to meet that talent in order for us to determine how high of a rate we can command. If you're competing on a global scale, you could only charge a very low rate. So if you're working on Fiverr, who's competing there? Not only everybody here in the Western market, but in Southeast Asia, in Africa, in Europe, Eastern Europe. Now you have all this fluctuation because that's a race to the bottom. You're competing with everyone, so why would you want to compete against them? You could only command a very low rate. On the other side of the scale, if you want to command much, much higher dollars, you either have to enter markets where there's very high demand for your skills. That's where there is little competition and you're not competing with everyone across the globe. So if you're just a generalist and you can do a little bit of everything, there's lots of competition. There's a lot of people who can do a lot of everything. I know a little Photoshop. I know a little Illustrator. On the other side of this, if you are a specialist, if you are one of 3 people that does this in the LA market or whatever market you're in, there is very little competition and you could charge a whole lot of money. So they could command a very high rate because they're the only person that does that. This is something that I lifted from Joey Corman's book, and I saw this slide and I thought that this was so powerful. When you guys are freelancing, this is the most important thing: reliability. 100% reliability. The people I keep bringing back are the most reliable people, the trustworthy people, meaning I could assign them something and say, hey, I need this by tomorrow end of day. Can you do it? When they say yes, they deliver. In terms of talent, obviously, that's very powerful, and personality. Both of those things are equal on this scale, and I agree with that. You have to be just as talented as you are a good person. If you're talented and person, I'm not going to hire you. And then the smallest thing on here is the rate. The least important thing to me, the most important thing is, are they reliable? Do they have talent? And are they a cool person to work with?